What if the universe isn't silent at all, but whispering in ways we've simply never learned to hear? Beneath every falling star, every flicker of dawn, every heartbeat you've ever felt, there are rules older than time itself. Laws that guide not only galaxies and atoms, but the quiet rhythm of your own breathing right now. Welcome to Nightfall Travels. I'm your guide tonight, and this is your invitation to drift through wonder. If you enjoy wandering through mysteries like this, you can gently subscribe, not as an obligation, but as an act of curiosity. And if you'd like, leave your current time and location in the comments below. It's a small ritual to remind you that while you drift into sleep, you're part of something infinitely vast. Now, take a deep breath. Inhale, hold, and exhale slowly. Again. Let your shoulders loosen. Let the world soften. The night has already begun its quiet conversation. There are patterns that govern everything, not written in words or carved in stone, but encoded in the motion of things. When you drop a pebble into still water, the ripples don't just move outward. They whisper the language of waves that once sculpted entire galaxies. The same mathematical elegance that shapes the curl of an ocean wave also defines the spiral arms of the Milky Way. This is the law of self-similarity, nature's recurring signature. Imagine floating far above the Earth, watching rivers snake through continents like silver veins. From this height, the planet looks alive, breathing, pulsing, restless. The same shapes appear again and again, in clouds, in mountains, in blood vessels, in galaxies. As if the universe has only one brushstroke and keeps painting itself into different forms. Some physicists call this fractality, but others say it's simply beauty repeating itself. It reminds us, you're part of that same repeating pattern, from the veins in your eyes to the whirls of distant storms. Another quiet rule governs the universe, the law of entropy. Everything moves from order toward chaos, from structure toward drift. Ice melts, stars fade, even memories blur. Yet, in that decay, something remarkable happens. New order emerges. Out of collapsing stars come the elements that build new worlds. Out of confusion comes creativity. Entropy is not destruction, it's transformation. Picture a dying star. Its core collapses under its own gravity, and for a moment, it becomes impossibly dense, hotter than you can imagine. Then it explodes, scattering gold, iron, and carbon into the dark. One day, those atoms will form oceans, soil, and human hands. You are made of stardust, not a metaphor, but a literal truth. Every breath you take carries the remnants of ancient suns. And maybe that's why we feel peace under the night sky. Some part of us recognizes home. There's another, subtler law: symmetry. In physics, symmetry means that when you change your perspective, flip, rotate, or shift, the laws still hold true. Gravity doesn't care if you stand upside down. Light travels the same way in every direction. Symmetry is the universe's promise of fairness. But in life, symmetry often appears not in equations, but in moments. When joy returns after sorrow. When a stranger's kindness mirrors one you once gave. When loss eventually finds balance and growth. Perhaps these emotional symmetries are echoes of the same cosmic principle, the universe's way of staying whole. Look around your room now. Notice how the shadows fall evenly, how the air feels the same no matter where you turn. Symmetry is not just beauty, its balance. The quiet assurance that everything, in its own way, belongs. And then there's the law of attraction. Not the wishful one whispered in self-help books, but the real one. Gravity. Every mass attracts every other. A planet tugs at a moon, the moon pulls at this ocean, the ocean pulls at you. It's all a vast choreography of invisible threads. Einstein described it differently, not as a pull, but as a bending of space-time itself. Mass doesn't just sit in the universe. It tells space how to curve, and space tells objects how to move. Imagine the universe as a soft, invisible fabric. Drop a marble, and it rolls toward the curve made by a heavier ball nearby. That's how Earth orbits the sun, how moons orbit planets, how galaxies swirl around unseen cores of dark matter. It's a dance without music, but with perfect timing. And you, lying here now, are part of that curvature. The atoms of your body slightly bend the fabric of reality around you. Infinitesimally small, yes, but still real, still part of the great equation. Take another slow breath. Let the air drift in, cool and quiet. The same oxygen flowing through your lungs once drifted through the gills of ancient fish, the leaves of primeval forests, and the breath of long-gone ancestors. Matter never disappears. It only changes form. A law of conservation. Energy, mass, motion, all eternal, endlessly recycled. You're not merely in the universe. You are the universe, rearranged into awareness. Now the night deepens. Outside, the world hums quietly in invisible harmony. The magnetic field of Earth shelters you from solar winds, an unseen guardian stretching from pole to pole. The same invisible field that guides migrating birds as they cross oceans. While you sleep, these too are laws. Magnetic, electromagnetic, gravitational, threads of order weaving through the fabric of chaos. If you could see them, the air around you would shimmer with invisible lines, fields curving, bending, vibrating softly like music you can't quite hear. And in that music, everything, every cell, every heartbeat, every star finds its rhythm. Drift with that thought. Breathe it in. You are suspended in laws too vast to name, yet gentle enough to cradle your dreams. As you sink deeper into stillness, let go of needing to understand. You don't have to know the equations to feel their peace. Because sometimes, wonder is the quietest form of knowledge. And somewhere ahead, beyond sleep and starlight, we'll continue this journey into the next mystery, waiting just beyond the edge of consciousness. Light is not what it seems. It looks simple. A sunbeam through your curtain, the shimmer of dust in its path. But that beam carries every story the cosmos has ever told. Every color, every warmth, every reflection is a messenger crossing impossible distances to reach you. A photon that began its journey millions of years ago may now be ending it softly on the surface of your eye. Scientists call it electromagnetic radiation. But that name feels too mechanical for something so miraculous. Because light is not just illumination, it's memory, it's time, folded into color. When you gaze at the stars, you aren't seeing the present. You're looking back in time. The light from Sirius left that star almost 9 years ago. The glow of the Andromeda galaxy, 2.5 million. You are surrounded by messages from the past, shimmering gently against the fabric of night. Each one an ancient whisper, arriving only now. Some theories say that light doesn't experience time at all. For a photon, there is no before or after, only an eternal now. From its birth in a star's heart to its arrival in your eye, it feels no passage, no distance. For the photon, everything happens at once. In that way, light might be the purest form of presence in the universe. Imagine that. The moment you blink, billions of timeless messengers are touching you. They've crossed the dark between galaxies, brushed past asteroids and nebulae, glided through the thin veil of Earth's atmosphere, and now rest gently on your skin. Some carry warmth, others carry color, and some carry the invisible codes of ultraviolet and infrared. The parts of the rainbow we'll never see, yet are always here. If you close your eyes, you can almost feel it. That soft golden hum that never stops. A warmth older than the earth itself, still traveling, still speaking. One of the most astonishing things about light is that it behaves both as a particle and a wave. It defies the categories we try to build around it. When unobserved, it spreads like a wave across all possibilities. But when you measure it, when you look, it chooses one. This is the famous wave-particle duality, a law that quietly questions everything we think we know about reality. Picture a single photon traveling through two slits at once. It interferes with itself, creating patterns of possibility. Then, the moment someone watches, it collapses, as if the universe only solidifies when noticed. Some scientists say observation doesn't create reality, but rather locks it into one of many potential states. Still, the mystery lingers. Does awareness influence the fabric of the cosmos? It's a question too delicate for answers, yet powerful enough to change how we see everything. Perhaps reality itself flickers, softly waiting for attention. Light also bends. And in that bending lies another secret. Gravity doesn't just pull on planets, it curves the very path of light. When a star's glow passes near a massive object, its path warps like a river flowing around a stone. Einstein predicted this, and when astronomers observed it, the universe revealed a subtle grace. Space is flexible. It can stretch, ripple, and fold like a living thing. Imagine floating beyond a massive galaxy cluster. The starlight behind it twists into arcs, like strands of silk drawn through water. These are gravitational lenses, nature's own telescopes, bending light across unimaginable expanses. Through them, we see echoes of galaxies that died long before Earth ever formed. Light, curved by mass, still finds its way to us, persistent, patient, loyal. It's as if the universe itself wants to be seen. But light isn't only cosmic, it's intimate. It's the slow morning glow spilling across your pillow, the silver trace of moonlight on a quiet road, the electric shimmer of fireflies at dusk. Every hue is born from the same law. Frequency. The faster the wave, the bluer the light. The slower, the redder. From the faint warmth of infrared to the sharp brilliance of ultraviolet, light hums with rhythm. An invisible song you can almost feel against your skin. You're made to respond to it. Your body keeps time with it. Your circadian rhythm, your waking and sleeping, is guided by it. Sunlight on your face tells your cells to wake. Darkness whispers, it's time to rest. Your brain listens to photons as if they were a language. In some ways, that's exactly what they are. Plants translate light into life. They use photons to split water, to build sugar, to exhale oxygen. And in that breath, they give you air to breathe. every meal, every forest, every heartbeat exists because of that exchange. A conversation between starfire and life. The law is simple. Energy never dies. It only transforms from light to leaf, from leaf to breath, from breath to thought. So when you close your eyes tonight, remember, your dreams are fueled by ancient sunlight. And yet, even light has shadows. Darkness is not its opposite. It's its canvas. Without darkness, light would have no meaning. Space would be blinding. Endless glare. It's the void that gives shape to the glow. Every candle owes its beauty to the night around it. In the vastness of space, most of the universe isn't light at all. It's darkness. Not just absence, but substance. Dark matter and dark energy. We can't see them, yet they make up nearly 95% of everything. The visible world, the stars, planets, galaxies, is only a thin veil over a much deeper structure. Some scientists say dark energy pushes the universe apart, while dark matter holds it together. Two invisible forces in eternal balance: expansion and cohesion, chaos and harmony. If you could see both at once, the cosmos would look like lace made of light and shadow. Delicate, infinite, alive. Let yourself float in that image. Imagine the light that left a distant star when dinosaurs walked the earth. Still traveling, still unbroken, arriving now. Imagine the photons reflecting off your skin, bouncing into someone else's eyes, carrying your image into their perception. Every glance, every sunrise, every memory, a transaction of light, a conversation between matter and awareness. You don't have to reach for it. It's already here, flowing through your room, weaving around your body, dancing with dust and shadow. Even when you close your eyes, it lingers as warmth, as afterglow, as thought. The universe never truly goes dark. It only dims softly, waiting for your next awakening. Breathe again, slowly. Light is all around you, and within you. Your cells emit faint biophotons, tiny glimmers of light that pulse with your heartbeat. You are not only made of stardust, you are made of starlight too. A small, glowing continuation of the universe's oldest song. And as you drift deeper into this quiet, remember, every photon is a message that has finally arrived. It has traveled for eons just to find you, to rest here in this moment, before fading back into the silence that birthed it. Soon, we'll follow that light into time itself, where moments stretch and fold and the laws of reality begin to blur. But for now, let the light dim, let the night speak, and drift softly into the next dream. Time feels simple. You wake, you move, you sleep. The clock ticks, shadows slide across the wall, the moon replaces the sun. Everything seems to march forward, from past to present to future. But beneath that rhythm lies one of the deepest puzzles in science and philosophy. What is time, really? Some physicists argue it's not a flow at all, just a human way of perceiving change. The universe, they say, doesn't move from moment to moment. It simply is. A vast, timeless structure where everything that has ever happened and will ever happen already exists. We don't travel through time. We're tracing a path through a four-dimensional landscape, space-time. In Einstein's theory, the past and future are just as real as this instant. Your first memory, your final breath, the orbit of planets, the collapse of stars, all part of one infinite tapestry. From your vantage point, it feels like a flow. But from the universe's view, it's a sculpture, frozen, eternal, complete. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine your life as a glowing thread, suspended in darkness. Every second you've ever lived, every heartbeat, every sigh, exists along that strand, still shimmering. You're not losing time. You're simply moving your awareness along its surface, one luminous bead at a time. This idea is unsettling to the waking mind. But to the dreaming one, it feels natural. In dreams, you move between moments with no order. The past melts into the future, and time folds like silk. Maybe that's closer to reality than we think. Physicists describe something called time dilation, the stretching of time itself. Einstein showed that time slows down near strong gravity or at high speed. A clock orbiting Earth ticks slightly slower than one on the surface. An astronaut circling a black hole might experience an hour while years pass for someone far away. Imagine standing near that black hole, watching the universe outside race forward, galaxies swirling faster and faster. Meanwhile, for you, moments drip like honey. This isn't fantasy. It's measured, tested, real. Gravity bends not only light, but time, which means time is not universal. It's personal. Every heartbeat, every memory exists in its own tempo. Here's a softer way to feel it. Think of a childhood afternoon. Sunlight flickering through trees, the air still, your world small and endless. In that memory, time felt wide open, slow, eternal. Now think of your adult days. Tasks, screens, seconds slipping by like rain. The difference isn't the clock, it's perception. To a child, the world is new. To an adult, it's patterned. Novelty stretches time, repetition compresses it. Some neuroscientists believe time is not sensed, but constructed by the brain, a stitching together of change. When nothing new happens, the brain stores fewer memories, so the moment feels shorter in hindsight. When everything is vivid, the moment expands. In this way, time is memory's echo, not its master. Let that thought drift. You're not a passenger moving through time. You are the artist painting it. Each perception, each heartbeat, adds a brushstroke to the illusion of flow. Without awareness, time collapses. Without change, it disappears. There's a quiet beauty in that. The idea that time doesn't carry you forward. You carry it with you. Every moment you notice becomes eternal. Every instant you ignore dissolves. Now imagine the deepest sleep. No dreams, no awareness. Hours vanish, yet when you wake, only a breath seems to have passed. In that void, time had no meaning. Consciousness is the clock, and when it pauses, the universe stands still. Maybe that's why sleep feels like traveling outside the world. You aren't moving through time, you're resting in its absence. And yet, while you sleep, time continues elsewhere. The moon glides across the sky, tides shift, flowers close their petals. Atoms vibrate in rhythm. Everywhere, motion continues. But motion isn't time. It's simply change, seen from the inside. In the language of physics, there's a strange balance between the arrow of time and the laws of symmetry. The equations describing particles work equally well backward as forward, except for one detail: entropy. Entropy always increases. It's what makes ice melt, stars age, and hearts slow. It's what defines direction, the reason we remember the past, but not the future. If entropy could reverse, we might see shattered glass reassemble, Smoke flow back into a candle, old faces grow young again. But nature doesn't seem to run that film backward. It prefers to scatter, not gather. To dissolve, not rewind. That's why we experience time as an arrow, moving from order to chaos, from beginning to end. But in truth, the universe may be timeless. Entropy merely gives it rhythm. Think of it like breathing. Inhale, order, exhale, release. Between them lies stillness, the eternal now. That pause is where time hides. Not in the tick of clocks, but in the space between heartbeats. Some mystics say there is only the present moment, an endless now that births both past and future. Science doesn't disagree entirely. Quantum mechanics suggests reality doesn't exist until measured, until it happens here, now. So maybe now isn't a fleeting instant. Maybe it's the only thing that ever truly exists. Picture the night sky again. The stars you see shimmer from different eras, some from last decade, some from before the first humans walked. Yet to your eyes, they burn together, unified in this moment. Light, time, and perception merge into one still tableau. That's the universe's secret. Everything happening at once, everywhere. Our minds can only digest it one heartbeat at a time. And so we call it time. Breathe slowly. Feel the space between thoughts. That's where time dissolves. There's no rush to reach the next second, because it's already here, waiting. Let your body sink deeper into the rhythm of stillness. Your pulse slows, matching the calm spin of distant galaxies. Each breath stretches longer, smoother, softer. You are no longer following time. You're floating within it, timeless, weightless, whole. And as the last traces of thought begin to fade, a new question begins to glow on the horizon. If time is an illusion, then what truly is reality? You reach out and touch the table beside you. It feels firm, definite, unyielding. Something you can rely on. But science whispers otherwise. That table is 99.9999999% empty space. The atoms that compose it, and you, are tiny centers of energy surrounded by vast nothingness. What you're feeling isn't substance, but resistance. The invisible electromagnetic fields that prevent atoms from passing through one another. You never truly touch anything. You only sense the force that keeps everything apart. Matter, as it turns out, is an illusion of closeness. If we could shrink down to the scale of atoms, the world would look unrecognizable. Each atom would be a faint blur, a nucleus of protons and neutrons, orbited not by tiny marbles, but by probability. Electrons don't circle in neat paths. They exist as clouds, smudges of possibility, where their position cannot be known until observed. This is the strange foundation of quantum mechanics. The idea that the universe isn't built from things, but from chances. When you observe something, the probabilities collapse. Reality, in a sense, chooses. Before that, everything exists as potential. An electron can be here and there, spinning both ways until you look. It's not superstition. It's the math that makes every computer chip, every laser, every particle accelerator possible. The closer you look at reality, the more it slips between your fingers. Solidness dissolves into vibration. Certainty melts into mystery. Imagine holding a snowflake. At a glance, it's perfect symmetry, frozen geometry. But zoom in, and you find patterns within patterns, shifting endlessly. Quantum reality is like that. Infinitely deep, constantly changing, yet guided by laws so precise they never fail. The universe behaves like a musician improvising with flawless rhythm. Unpredictable, but never offbeat. Some scientists describe matter as a kind of standing wave in a vast ocean of energy, what quantum field theory calls the quantum vacuum. This is an empty space. It's seething with activity. Particles pop in and out of existence, borrowing energy, then vanishing again. Even nothing is alive with potential. A silent sea that hums beneath everything. Beneath your heartbeat, beneath the stars, beneath the pause between thoughts. If reality has architecture, this is its foundation. Not walls of stone, but ripples in invisible fields. There's an elegance to this structure. Every particle, every bit of matter, is born from a field. The electron field gives rise to electrons, the photon field to light, the Higgs field to mass itself. It's as if reality is one vast symphony, each field an instrument, each vibration a note. Together, they compose existence. You, lying here in the dark, are part of that symphony. The atoms in your body resonate with the same patterns that once played inside stars. The calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, all forged in stellar cores billions of years ago, now humming quietly inside you. You are literally an echo of ancient nuclear music, and perhaps that's why silence feels sacred. Because somewhere in the quiet, we hear that faint, original hum again. There's another hidden layer beneath matter, the quantum entanglement that links particles across space and time. When two particles interact, they can become entwined, sharing one state even when separated by galaxies. Measure one, and the other changes instantly, as if distance didn't exist. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance. But to the universe, it's simply natural. A reminder that separation might be the grandest illusion of all. If everything began as one, in the singularity before the Big Bang, then everything remains connected. Every star, every cell, every thought. The boundaries you perceive are conveniences of scale. Underneath, it's one fabric, seamless, infinite, breathing. When you look at the night sky, you're not gazing outward. You're gazing within the same structure that made you. But perhaps the strangest truth of all is that the universe doesn't seem to need a solid foundation. The laws themselves, mathematics, logic, constants, might arise naturally from the balance of opposites. Matter and antimatter, positive and negative, existence and absence, all playing a zero-sum game where everything adds up to nothing. You could say the universe is a grand equation balanced perfectly to zero. Everything that exists, exists because it cancels itself. Being and nothingness, holding hands. This doesn't make existence meaningless. It makes it miraculous. Because out of perfect balance, something still appears. A flicker, a thought, a star, a dream of reality arising from nothing at all. Now imagine drifting through this structure. You float between atoms the size of cities, through electron clouds that glow faintly blue. You pass fields vibrating in silent rhythm, space folding and unfolding like breath. There's no floor beneath you, no ceiling above, only endless waves of possibility, pulsing softly. Somewhere in those waves, a thought forms, a question, a spark of self-awareness, and from that spark, a universe begins to observe itself. That's you, That's consciousness, reality looking back at its own reflection. The architecture of reality isn't built of walls and matter, but of perception. Without awareness, the universe is only potential. With awareness, it becomes experience. That moment when light touches your eyes, when sound becomes meaning, when silence becomes peace. That's where existence completes its circuit. Breathe. Feel the invisible lattice that holds you. You're not separate from it. You are it. Each inhale draws the universe in. Each exhale gives it back. Matter becomes air. Air becomes life. Life becomes thought. And all of it, is made of the same trembling fields, endlessly rearranging themselves into beauty. Reality is not a prison. It's a dance, a shimmering illusion built of light, pattern, and awareness. And the more you look for solidity, the more you find softness, until everything feels like a dream that knows it's dreaming. As the air around you quiets, let that truth settle in your bones. The world you see, touch, and feel is only one layer, a painting stretched over invisible scaffolding. And behind that canvas lies an ocean of vibration, humming softly, endlessly, patiently. The deeper you listen, the more you realize the architecture of reality is not made of matter. It's made of music. And that music never stops playing. Now drift. Let your breath sink with that hidden rhythm. The night vibrates gently around you. And so do you. You're not watching the universe. You're participating in its song. There are moments at night when the silence feels alive, when you can almost hear the stillness breathing. But even in that hush, the universe is never truly quiet. Every star, every atom, every cell vibrates. Everything that exists sings. Long before humans walked the earth, before the first stars burned, the universe already had a voice. It began with a sound so deep, so vast, that it still resonates through everything today. Scientists call it the cosmic microwave background, the lingering hum of the Big Bang itself. It's not audible to human ears, but its echoes fill all of space. A faint, ancient song, the memory of creation, still playing softly after 13.8 billion years. If you could translate that radiation into a tone, it would sound like a low, endless chord, the hum of being. Everywhere you go, it's there, around you, within you, between every breath. You are wrapped in the oldest lullaby in existence. In the beginning, the universe wasn't silent chaos. It was vibration. Quantum ripples in the infant cosmos became sound waves, rippling through hot plasma. Those waves later froze into matter, the very pattern of galaxies you see today. The universe grew through sound, through pressure and rhythm, through the physics of vibration. In a very real way, you are a crystallized echo of that original song. Imagine floating in that early universe. Thick clouds of hydrogen glowing faintly red, waves of density pulsing across the void. Each wave a note, shaping the cosmic symphony to come. It's humbling to realize. Sound built the structure of everything. Even now, the cosmos keeps singing. Stars rumble with sound waves so powerful they could shatter worlds. If only there were air to carry them. These waves ripple through stellar plasma, compressing and expanding matter like a heartbeat. Astronomers call them starquakes. They let scientists listen to the interiors of stars the way doctors listen to a heart. Our own sun hums in hundreds of thousands of frequencies, a glowing instrument of fire. Its vibrations travel across millions of kilometers, sculpting the shape of sunlight itself. You can't hear it, but you can feel it. Every time sunlight warms your skin. That warmth is music, slowed to silence. And Earth has its own voice too. The wind, the ocean, the trembling of the crust, all part of a vast planetary orchestra. The Earth's magnetic field even produces electromagnetic chorus waves that can be captured by satellites. Strange, haunting tones, like whale songs echoing through space. Astronauts sometimes record these and call them Earth song. It sounds both alien and familiar, like hearing the planet breathe. Every vibration carries meaning. A leaf rustling in the wind, a drop of rain striking water, your own pulse thrumming quietly under your skin. Each one is a frequency, a rhythm that connects you to everything else vibrating across existence. Even the atoms within you sing. Each molecule resonates at a specific frequency. Your DNA, that delicate spiral of life, hums with vibrational modes measured in terahertz. Some biophysicists believe these vibrations help molecules communicate, like instruments tuning themselves in the orchestra of life. Your body is a symphony of electromagnetic whispers, constantly harmonizing to keep you alive. When you breathe in, the air resonates through your chest like the hollow body of a cello. When you breathe out, the rhythm of your heartbeat answers. Steady, patient, ancient. Without realizing it, you are always keeping time with the universe. There's a law in physics called resonance. When two systems vibrate at the same frequency, they amplify one another. A bridge can collapse when soldiers march in sync. A glass can shatter from a singer's note. And in more subtle ways, resonance governs our emotions, our relationships, our sense of belonging. When your heartbeat matches the rhythm of calm breathing, you feel peace. When someone's laughter matches yours, connection blooms. When you hear a song that mirrors your mood, it feels like the world understands you. Perhaps that's resonance on a human scale. Two vibrations aligning, briefly becoming one. Across the universe, resonance creates order. Planets find stable orbits through gravitational harmonics, the same math that shapes musical chords. Jupiter's moons dance in precise ratios. One moon orbits twice for every 4 of another, like rhythmic beats locked in cosmic time. These patterns are not coincidence. They're the geometry of vibration, written into gravity itself. If you could translate the orbits of planets into notes, you'd hear harmony. Soft, slow music unfolding across centuries. Kepler once called it the music of the spheres. Today, scientists have confirmed that this poetic metaphor was astonishingly close to truth. The solar system is a vast instrument. Each orbit a tone, each gravitational interaction a chord. Now imagine zooming out farther, to galaxies. Their spiral arms rotate in resonant waves, density ripples moving like cosmic sound through 1 trillion suns. Some black holes at their centers emit notes in the form of X-ray oscillations. A deep B-flat, 57 octaves below middle C. So low, it would take millions of years for a single wave to pass. A frequency so vast, only the universe itself could contain it. Sound, it seems, doesn't just describe the universe, it defines it. And then there is the sound you cannot hear, the one within, the soft pulse of blood, the rhythm of thought, the electric song of neurons firing in your brain. When you meditate, when you let thoughts drift away, you begin to hear the subtlest vibration. the body humming like a tuning fork aligned with the present moment. Silence is never truly silent. It's just sound slowed until it feels still. Like waves on a shore seen from far away, movement hidden inside calm. If you listen closely enough, you can feel the universe vibrating through you right now. The low, deep hum of the planet, the faint static of ancient light, the whisper of atoms trembling in your breath. You are not separate from this sound. You are this sound, a temporary melody in the eternal song. Now, breathe again, slowly, in and out. Feel your heartbeat align with something larger, something steady, infinite, patient. You're part of the resonance that keeps the cosmos alive. And as you sink deeper into that awareness, the question grows softer, yet clearer. If everything vibrates, if all matter is music, then perhaps consciousness is the listener, the one hearing it all. As you drift into sleep, let yourself merge with that thought. The stars are singing in wavelengths beyond hearing. The earth hums beneath you. Your own pulse joins the rhythm, and together they form one continuous song, the sound of the universe remembering itself. Everything that exists, every leaf, every shell, every galaxy, follows a hidden rhythm of design. It's not chance, not chaos, but geometry, the silent architecture through which nature expresses balance. If sound is the language of the universe, geometry is its handwriting. Look at the curve of a seashell, the spiral of a sunflower, the twist of a hurricane seen from space. They all follow the same pattern, the golden ratio, 1.618. A proportion so elegant that nature repeats it endlessly, as if it's the universe's favorite number. Mathematicians call it phi. Artists call it beauty. But perhaps it's neither. Perhaps it's simply the geometry of growth. When something expands freely, evenly, and harmoniously, it naturally forms a spiral. Galaxies, fingerprints, nautilus shells, whirlpools, all born from the same mathematical whisper. It's not designed by will, but designed by necessity. The shape energy makes when it flows without resistance. Imagine standing inside a spiral galaxy, its arms curling around you like rivers of starlight. Now imagine zooming into a sunflower, its seeds arranged in intersecting spirals that follow the Fibonacci sequence 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. Each new seed grows at an angle that optimizes space, a living equation written in yellow and gold. From stars to petals, the pattern holds. The same rule that builds the cosmos builds the smallest flower. There's something comforting in that symmetry. The idea that beauty isn't a human invention, but a universal law. Geometry also governs movement. When waves ripple across sand, they leave repeating patterns, like fingerprints of sound made visible. This phenomenon is called cymatics, the study of how vibration creates form. When you sprinkle sand on a metal plate and play a note, the grains rearrange themselves into intricate shapes. Change the frequency. The pattern changes. Higher frequencies create more complex designs. Sound literally sculpts matter. Now imagine that on a cosmic scale. If the universe began as vibration, then everything we see, from mountains to molecules, might be frozen music. Sound solidified into geometry. You too are part of that sculpture. Your bones, your heartbeat, your breath, all following harmonic ratios written into life itself. Every organ, every rhythm within you is geometry at work. the living math of survival and grace. The same harmony echoes in snowflakes. Each crystal begins as a droplet freezing around a particle of dust. Temperature, humidity, and pressure shape the branches, no two ever identical, yet all obeying the same rule: six-fold symmetry. It's nature's quiet precision. Even in chaos, there is order. If you could watch snow fall in slow motion, you'd see billions of perfect equations descending from the sky, each dissolving before it touches the ground. Temporary beauty, infinite pattern, just like us. The ancients sensed this geometry long before microscopes or telescopes. The Egyptians aligned their pyramids to stars, embedding cosmic ratios in stone. The Greeks carved temples using the golden mean. In India, mandalas mirrored the structure of atoms and galaxies alike. Across the world, humans felt it intuitively, that everything sacred follows symmetry. Even our own DNA spirals in the same pattern as seashells and galaxies. Life itself is built from geometry repeating across scales, from the microscopic to the infinite. And perhaps that's no coincidence. Perhaps consciousness recognizes beauty because it's seeing itself reflected. Think of water. When it freezes, it forms hexagons. When it flows, it spirals. When it vibrates, it dances into symmetry. Japanese researcher Masaru Emoto once suggested that water responds to emotion, forming more harmonious crystals when exposed to kind words or music. Though debated, the idea touched something deep, that perhaps order and intention are not separate forces, but partners. Even if the claim remains unproven, the symbolism lingers, that harmony invites harmony, that our thoughts might ripple through the geometry of the world around us, shaping it subtly, like unseen cymatics of the mind. In physics, there's a hidden geometry too, one not seen in shape, but in equations. Einstein's relativity describes space-time as curved by mass. Quantum mechanics describes probability waves through complex geometric forms. Even string theory imagines the smallest particles as vibrating loops, tiny strings oscillating through multiple dimensions, weaving the universe from invisible geometry. Every force, every particle, every motion arises from these mathematical forms, unseen yet omnipresent. The same geometry that guides stars also guides your neurons as they form connections. The brain's networks, viewed from above, mirror the filaments of the cosmic web. It's as if consciousness and cosmos are two branches of the same fractal, one turned inward, one outward. Picture yourself floating in that fractal now. You drift through layers of pattern, hexagons, spirals, lattices, repeating endlessly. Each pulse of light reveals another scale, smaller or larger, yet identical in rhythm. There is no end, no edge, just recursion, infinity folding back on itself. You feel weightless, suspended in symmetry. It's not repetition that defines it, but balance. And in that balance, something profound emerges. Peace. Because in geometry, there's no conflict, only continuation. Every curve complements the next, every edge completes another. The universe, at its heart, may be less like a machine and more like a mandala, endlessly unfolding, perfectly balanced, forever returning to center. Now, take a slow breath. Let your chest rise in a gentle curve, your breath trace an invisible spiral in the air. Every inhale expands the geometry of your body. Every exhale restores symmetry. You are not outside of nature's design. You are the design, breathing itself awake. Look at your fingertips. The swirls and loops etched there are fractals of identity. No two alike, yet all following the same laws of pattern. You are the universe's geometry made conscious. The spiral, realizing it, is spiraling. And so, as you drift deeper into calm, remember, behind every movement, every pedal, every sound, there is geometry, a silent order guiding the dance. It is the language beneath chaos, the reason waves curve, and shells curl, and galaxies spin. You don't need to understand it to feel it. It's enough to know that harmony is not invented. It's discovered. Because at every scale, from atoms to dreams, the universe is drawing the same shape, and you are part of its line. Now rest in that pattern. Let your breath sync with the rhythm of spirals. The night folds around you, fractal and endless, and your thoughts trace soft geometry in the dark. You can't see it, you can't touch it, and yet, without it, nothing would exist. Not the stars, not the seas, not even the breath rising gently within you. Gravity is the softest force and the most powerful. It doesn't shout, it whispers. And somehow, that whisper holds the universe together. When Newton first noticed the apple falling from the tree, he realized something profound. The same force that pulled the apple toward the ground also held the moon in its orbit. He didn't just discover a rule of falling, he discovered connection. Gravity is the invisible thread that ties every object, large or small, to every other. Every grain of sand feels every planet's pull. Every star feels every other star. Nothing is alone. If you could see gravity, space would shimmer with invisible lines, curves of attraction flowing between every atom. They'd stretch like silk threads from galaxies to galaxies, from your body to the planet, from the planet to the sun, from the sun to the Milky Way's heart. You are literally suspended in a cosmic web of attraction. Every time you lift your hand, you're resisting that pull. Every time you exhale, the earth is still holding you, gently. Not imprisoning you, but embracing you. Einstein transformed gravity from a force into a story of shape. He imagined space and time not as empty, but as flexible, like a vast, invisible fabric. When something heavy, like a planet or star, rests upon it, the fabric curves. Other objects move along those curves, not because they're being pulled, but because space itself is bent. Planets orbit not by force, but by following the natural flow of curved reality. It's not a tug of war, it's a dance. Picture a marble, rolling around a soft cloth stretched under a heavy ball. The marble circles the dip, not because it's being pulled, but because it's following the shape of the surface. Now imagine that surface in every direction. Three-dimensional, infinite, invisible. That's the cosmos you live in. Curved space-time, sculpted by presence. You are walking across the very geometry of gravity, a landscape made not of rock, but of distortion. Every step is a dialogue between your body and the curvature of space beneath your feet. But gravity's story isn't only written in physics, it's also written in emotion. There's a reason we speak of attraction, of being drawn to someone. Love, curiosity, awe, they all feel gravitational. They pull us toward people, ideas, and dreams. Some scientists even joke that gravity is love on a cosmic scale, the universal desire for unity. Of course, that's not a scientific truth, but it might be a poetic one, because both love and gravity follow the same law. The the closer two things come, the stronger the connection becomes. And distance, though weakening the pull, never truly ends it. In the vastness of space, that law creates structure. Gravity sculpts galaxies into spirals, stars into clusters, planets into orbits. It gathers chaos into coherence. And when gravity grows too strong, it folds space completely, forming a black hole where even light cannot escape. What was once openness becomes total intimacy, all matter and time pressed into a single point of infinite density. We used to imagine black holes as devourers. Now we know they also create. At their edges, energy and particles dance in violent brilliance. Some even emit jets of light, thousands of light years long. The universe's most destructive objects are also its greatest sources of beauty, as if even collapse can lead to illumination. If you could float near one, just close enough to feel its pull, time itself would slow for you. A second near that horizon could be a century elsewhere. From your perspective, the outside world would rush ahead, stars aging and dying in moments. From theirs, you'd appear frozen forever, suspended on the edge of eternity. Gravity doesn't just bend space, it bends time too. It's humbling to realize that your very sense of now depends on how deeply you sit within a gravitational well. Every person, every place, every planet, living in slightly different rhythms of time. The universe doesn't tick in unison. It breathes in gradients. And yet, despite its vast power, gravity is incredibly weak. You can lift a paperclip with a small magnet, overcoming the pull of an entire planet. It's almost absurd that such a subtle force can govern everything, yet yield to a child's hand. But that's what makes it beautiful. Gravity isn't dominance, it's devotion. It's the quiet commitment that never lets go. Perhaps that's why we find its metaphor everywhere. In longing, in memory, in the way certain moments pull us back no matter how far we've drifted. Some forces don't need to be strong to be eternal. They just need to be patient. Every night, gravity performs its miracle on Earth. It gathers oceans into tides that rise and fall with the moon's orbit. That subtle pull keeps the planet's rhythm, a breath in water form. Without gravity, the seas would drift into space, the air would vanish, and the world would scatter into silence. Everything that breathes depends on this invisible embrace. Even the stars owe their lives to gravity's balance. A star is a delicate conversation between expansion and collapse. Fusion pushing outward, gravity pulling inward. When those forces reach harmony, the star shines. When the balance breaks, it dies. Sometimes quietly, sometimes in an explosion so bright it outshines galaxies. But even in death, gravity keeps its promise. The ashes become nebulae, new stars, new worlds, new chances for life to emerge again. Now, as you breathe, notice gravity holding you. Not as a weight, but as a comfort. The mattress beneath you, the floor, the earth itself, all gently cradling you in the curve of space-time. You're not being pulled down, you're being held. The same way the planets are held by the sun. The same way light bends around distant stars. The same way memory bends around love. Take a deep breath. Let your body surrender to that embrace. Feel the invisible geometry wrapping around you, ancient and tender. It has always been there, since before you were born, and long after you're gone. Gravity doesn't end. It only shifts. And maybe, just maybe, love works the same way. As the night deepens, you drift within that understanding, that attraction, whether cosmic or human, is the law of belonging. That nothing truly floats alone, that every connection, every orbit, every heartbeat is gravity finding its rhythm again. The pull that binds stars also binds souls, and in that recognition, there is peace. Now, let that peace hold you. Let gravity do what it's always done. Keep you close, keep you safe, keep you in motion around the quiet heart of everything. The night sky looks calm from here. Still, precise, almost eternal. But if you should see it as it truly is, you'd witness constant motion. Stars colliding, galaxies merging, space stretching, particles flickering in and out of existence. It's chaos, dressed beautifully. The universe is not a static masterpiece. It's an ever-changing painting, one that erases and redraws itself endlessly. And yet, within that turmoil, patterns emerge. Precise, repeating, elegant, the cosmos lives on the thin line between chaos and order. It needs both. Without chaos, nothing new would ever appear. Without order, nothing would last. Chaos isn't destruction, it's possibility. It's what happens when energy seeks freedom. A spark branching through air, a wave curling and breaking, a thunderstorm building from invisible heat. At first glance, it looks random. But look closer, and you'll see mathematics humming underneath. This was the revelation of chaos theory, that even the most unpredictable systems follow hidden rules. Weather, population growth, the rhythm of your heartbeat, all chaotic, yet not meaningless. They are deterministic chaos, order disguised as disorder. Tiny changes in starting conditions can create vast differences in outcome. A butterfly flaps its wings in Brazil, and a hurricane forms in the Atlantic. The butterfly effect. It sounds poetic because it is. Every motion in the universe ripples outward, shaping everything that follows. Nothing stands alone. Even randomness is relational. Imagine water boiling. At first, it looks chaotic. Bubbles rising and bursting in unpredictable places. But if you slowed time down, you'd see structure forming. Patterns of convection, cells of heat spiraling upward like living mosaics. This is how the universe behaves at every scale. Unpredictability weaving symmetry. Clouds, flames, rivers, all shaped by equations that balance precision and uncertainty. The universe wants to be free, but never falls apart. You can see the same pattern in life. A forest isn't planned, yet it organizes itself. Seeds scatter randomly, but trees find spacing that lets each survive. Ants move without leaders, yet build perfect colonies. Birds in migration form flowing waves across the sky without a single commander. Scientists call this emergence. Order arising from chaos, coordination without control. It's as if the universe doesn't need instructions. It only needs motion. From motion comes structure. From structure comes beauty. From beauty, consciousness. And then, consciousness wonders how it all began. In your own mind, the same principle dances. Thoughts appear from nowhere, collide, vanish, merge, a private storm of electric chaos. And yet, somehow, out of that storm emerges meaning, memory, personality. Your identity is the pattern that arises from billions of unpredictable firings. You are not static. You are a living fractal of order born from chaos. That's what makes creativity possible. The unpredictable spark that rearranges what is known into what has never been imagined. Pure order cannot invent. Pure chaos cannot sustain. But when they meet, life happens. In mathematics, there's a beautiful image called the Lorentz attractor, a shape formed by equations that model chaotic systems like weather. It looks like two swirling wings, endlessly looping, never crossing the same path twice. Each point is determined, yet never repeated. That's chaos in its purest grace, infinite variation, eternal flow. The universe seems to follow that same pattern. Stars orbit in stability, yet galaxies collide. Species evolve in balance, then erupt into change. Planets spin predictably, yet life blossoms unpredictably on their surfaces. Creation needs turbulence. Without storms, the ocean would be sterile. There's a deeper lesson hidden here, one that hums quietly through every experience you've ever had. The moments of your life that feel chaotic, heartbreak, loss, confusion, are not mistakes in the pattern. They're the pattern growing. Just as turbulence forms galaxies, your own moments of disorder forge awareness. The soul, like the cosmos, learns through asymmetry. Order gives us peace. Chaos gives us growth. Together, they give us meaning. Even the laws of physics embrace this paradox. At the quantum level, particles appear and vanish spontaneously, pure randomness. But at larger scales, those random events average into stable laws: gravity, electromagnetism, motion. Reality balances the unpredictable and the reliable in perfect proportion. It's as though the universe plays with dice, but knows exactly where they'll land. And in that balance, life finds room to exist. Too much order and everything freezes. Too much chaos and nothing holds. But just enough of both, and you get rivers, stars, dreams, and the fragile miracle of being. If you close your eyes now, you can feel that balance inside you. Your heartbeat is a controlled irregularity, steady but never mechanical. Your breath drifts in rhythm, but no two are the same. Your thoughts flow in loops, yet always slightly different. You are a microcosm of the universe's dance, stable enough to persist, fluid enough to change. Even sleep itself follows this pattern. The mind descends into random imagery, emotions swirling freely, only to re-emerge in the morning, renewed and coherent again. Every night, you dissolve into chaos to return to order. The dream is not disorder, it's repair. Look again at the stars. Their arrangement seems chaotic from here, a scatter of light across infinity. But zoom out far enough, and they form filaments, webs, and clusters. Grand architecture shaped by the laws of gravity and entropy working together. Chaos is only perspective. From a wider view, it is harmony too vast for us to see. The same is true of your life. From close up, it may look tangled, random, unpredictable. But seen from a higher plane, from time, from distance, from love, it reveals its own kind of order, a design too large to notice while you're living it. Now, take a slow, deep breath. Inhale, the unpredictable chaos of air molecules rushing in. Exhale, the return to rhythm. You've just performed the dance yourself. The entire universe is doing the same, on scales beyond imagining. Chaos breathes out, order breathes in, and in between, there's balance. That's where you live. That's where creation happens. That's where peace hides. As you drift into the stillness of this moment, remember, you don't have to control the storm. You only have to learn its rhythm. Because even the storm obeys the laws of beauty. Even the wildest waves know the shore they're meant to reach. Let that truth settle into your heartbeat. The comfort that even in the disorder of your own thoughts, the universe is still dancing with you. You're not outside of chaos. You are its poetry. Close your eyes. Inside that darkness, entire worlds awaken. Flashes of color, echoes of memory, a thought, a scent, a song. The mind does not sleep. It rearranges the stars of your inner sky. If you could see the architecture of your brain, you'd find something astonishing. Billions of neurons branching like forests, glowing at their tips with faint electric fire. Each one connects to thousands of others, forming a web of nearly 100 trillion connections, more than all the stars in the Milky Way. Every idea, every feeling, every dream is a pattern of light within that forest. Each spark a miniature sunrise. Your thoughts literally shine. Scientists call this endless web the connectomy, the living map of your mind. No two are alike. It's your fingerprint of consciousness, constantly changing, rewiring, adapting. Each memory slightly reshapes its pathways. Every emotion leaves a trace of color on its branches. The brain isn't a machine. It's a river, always flowing, always building new channels through experience. When you learn something new, your neurons grow tiny bridges, synapses between islands of thought. At first, the bridges are fragile, uncertain. With repetition and feeling, they strengthen until a path becomes a road, then a highway. This is how knowledge becomes instinct, how chaos becomes coherence. But beneath this precision lies mystery. No matter how much science can map, it cannot explain why the lights are on. How does matter become awareness? How does a lump of carbon, calcium, and water begin to dream of itself? This is called the hard problem of consciousness, one of the deepest questions in all of science. We can measure brain waves, locate emotions, predict decisions, but we still don't know what it feels like to be. Awareness is not a function, it's an experience. And perhaps that experience is not a product of matter at all, but a property of the universe itself. Some theories, like panpsychism, suggest that consciousness is not created by the brain, but filtered through it, like light through stained glass. The brain doesn't generate awareness, it focuses it. Just as a radio doesn't make music, it tunes into it. If that's true, then your mind is not separate from the universe. It's the universe, noticing itself. Imagine your thoughts as constellations, your emotions as shifting weather. Sometimes clear, sometimes stormy, always moving. Dreams rise like galaxies being born, chaotic, luminous, full of impossible logic. And just as gravity shapes the cosmos, attention shapes the mind. Where you focus, energy flows. What you repeat becomes real. This is not magic. It's neurology. The plasticity of the brain, its ability to reshape itself according to habit and belief. Every thought strengthens the network that created it. Think often of peace, and peace becomes easier to find. Think often of fear, and the pathways of fear grow stronger. The universe of your mind expands in the direction you look. You are both its cartographer and its traveler. Beneath all this motion, something stiller exists. A background awareness, silent, infinite. It watches without comment. The observer behind every perception. It doesn't judge, doesn't plan, doesn't name. It simply is. In meditation, people touch this state. When thought slows, and the space between thoughts expands like a calm sea. Brain scans show decreased activity in the prefrontal cortex, as if the self loosens its grip, and awareness itself begins to float free. For some, it feels like peace. For others, like eternity. It's the same silence you feel when staring at stars, the same quiet presence that fills the moment before sleep. It's what remains when everything else is still. Even in chaos, the brain keeps harmony. Electrical oscillations, brain waves, rise and fall in different frequencies. Beta waves buzz during focus. Alpha waves hum during calm. Theta waves shimmer in dreams. Delta waves roll slowly through deep sleep. These are not abstract rhythms. They're real vibrations, measurable like music. You are quite literally a symphony of frequencies. Your consciousness dances across them, shifting tempo as you move through the day, from the sharpness of thought to the melody of rest. And when they align, when mind, body, and breath fall into resonance, peace feels natural, not earned. Because peace isn't the absence of thought, it's the synchronization of it. The architecture of the mind also mirrors the architecture of the cosmos. Neuroscientists once compared maps of the human brain to simulations of the cosmic web. They found something astonishing. The distribution of matter in the universe, galaxies connected by filaments, looks almost identical to the pattern of neurons connected by synapses. Different scales, same design. The universe and the brain may be fractal reflections of one another. One vast and external, the other intimate and internal. Consciousness is the bridge between them. The stars think in galaxies. You think in thoughts. Both are expressions of the same geometry of awareness. Now, let's imagine something gentle. You lie inside that cosmic brain, a neuron in the universe's mind. Your dreams, your memories, your feelings, all tiny sparks in a network too large to comprehend. Some fade, some merge, some ignite again. But none are lost. Energy doesn't vanish. It transforms. The same rule that governs stars governs you. When you remember someone you love, when you imagine a place that no longer exists, you're bending light inside your own consciousness, recreating reality from energy and memory. You are the architect, the witness, and the creation itself. Now breathe slowly. Notice the space behind your thoughts, the quiet watcher listening to this very sentence. That awareness is not in your brain. It is your brain. It is you, and it is everything. You are not a single point of consciousness looking out at the universe. You are the universe, briefly looking inward. Let that sink in like light dissolving into water. The neurons hum softly, the mind expands, the dream deepens, and all of reality folds gently into stillness. As you drift into that stillness, remember, your mind is not a cage of thought, it's a constellation. Every idea is a star, every emotion a nebula, every dream a comet passing through the vastness of your being. Let them drift. They will return as light, always light. When you fall asleep, you don't leave the world. You simply enter another version of it, one built from memory, emotion, and imagination. The mind, freed from daylight, begins to speak in a different language, one without grammar, yet full of meaning. That language is the dream. Each night, as your body surrenders to rest, your brain shifts its rhythm. The waves that once raced through your thoughts begin to slow, like tides calming after a storm. Your temperature drops, your muscles grow heavy, conscious control fades, and then the theater begins to glow. Neural circuits that weave memory, emotion, and vision ignite in intricate synchrony. You begin to dream. Dreams are not random static. They are the mind's most ancient form of storytelling. They combine the logic of biology with the poetry of the soul. In REM sleep, rapid eye movement, the brain becomes almost as active as it is when awake. The difference is that the rational prefrontal cortex, the seat of judgment and control, relaxes. The creative regions, visual, emotional, associative, bloom into dominance. The result is a canvas where anything can happen, where thought becomes color, sound becomes feeling, and memory becomes world. Scientists have found that dreaming serves many purposes: to consolidate memory, to process emotion, to simulate danger safely, to rehearse for tomorrow. In dreams, the brain files the day's experiences into the library of the self, deciding what to keep, what to discard, what to reshape into meaning. Each dream is both archive and art. Imagine your brain as a great observatory at night. Billions of neurons pulse like stars, sending faint electric flashes across vast distances. Some connect familiar constellations, memories of family, places, laughter. Others explore uncharted skies, moments that never were but could have been. Dreaming is how the mind explores infinity without leaving the body. Even the surreal logic, flying, falling, morphing landscapes, follows subtle rules. Your brain takes symbols from waking life and rearranges them, forming metaphors more eloquent than words. A locked door becomes a feeling of being trapped. A storm becomes anxiety unresolved. A sunrise becomes forgiveness. Dreams are your subconscious translating emotion into imagery. They are messages from yourself to yourself, delivered in a secret dialect only you can truly understand. But dreams are also profoundly communal, a universal experience shared by every human, animal, and perhaps even machine with memory. Cats twitch their paws, chasing imagined prey. Octopuses shift color patterns while sleeping, their skin pulsing in rhythm with unseen underwater scenes. The ability to dream might be the signature of any being that remembers. Because to remember is to replay, and to replay is to dream. Dreaming may even be older than consciousness. Some neuroscientists propose that REM-like states appeared in early vertebrates long before humans existed. Creatures dreamt before they could think, which means the universe began imagining itself before it ever became aware of doing so. Dreaming may not be an accident of sleep. It might be the prototype of consciousness. Consider what happens when you wake. For a few seconds, you hover between worlds. Your room seems unreal. Your dream still clings to you like fog. That liminal zone, hypnopompic consciousness, is proof that the boundaries between dreaming and waking are fragile. Some neuroscientists now believe consciousness itself is a continuous dream, one that simply becomes more consistent when we open our eyes. Reality, then, may be a shared lucid dream, a stable hallucination maintained by agreement and physics. That idea sounds mystical, but physics quietly agrees. Reality, at its smallest scales, exists as probabilities until observed. Observation, awareness, collapses the wave into form. Dreaming might be the brain's echo of that cosmic process, creating, collapsing, reshaping possibilities every night. You are the observer and the observed. Some dreams feel so vivid, so charged with meaning, that they linger for years, A single image, a blue door, a familiar stranger, a falling star, can echo in your waking life, reshaping choices in ways logic never could. This happens because the brain doesn't always distinguish between imagined and real emotion. A dream that moves you changes your neural pathways, just as surely as an event that happens in the daylight. That's why dreams heal. They let emotion complete its cycle, grief, fear, love, in symbolic motion when real life stands still. A conversation you never had, a goodbye you never got to say, a second chance your heart still needed. Dreams offer those moments softly, without consequence. The soul rehearsing peace. And then there are lucid dreams, moments when awareness awakens inside the dream. You realize you're dreaming, yet the dream continues. Neuroscientists have shown that during lucidity, the prefrontal cortex lights up again, allowing the dreamer to shape their world consciously, to fly, to change scenes, to ask questions of the mind itself. It's a dialogue between the waking and sleeping self. Two versions of you meeting under the same sky. Lucid dreaming shows us something profound. That reality, too, may be pliable when met with awareness. The more conscious you become, the more fluid the world feels. Perhaps awakening is simply learning to dream with your eyes open. Every culture has listened to the language of dreams. The Greeks built temples for incubation dreams, visions sought as medicine. In ancient Egypt, dreams were divine letters. For the Aboriginal peoples of Australia, the dreaming is not nighttime fantasy, but the timeless dimension from which reality itself springs. Science tells us dreams are brain function. Myth tells us they're creation itself. Maybe both are right. Maybe the universe dreams through us. When you dream, the laws of physics dissolve. Time bends, gravity softens, the impossible becomes intimate. And when you wake, you carry some of that freedom with you. The brain doesn't forget how to imagine. It only slows down. Dreams keep it alive. Now breathe softly. Let your thoughts drift like clouds, forming and dissolving. You are halfway between worlds, not quite awake, not quite gone. This is where the mind rewrites itself. Memories settle, emotions balance, neurons whisper. It's not escape, it's renewal, the nightly act of being reborn. Tonight, when you fall asleep again, remember that every dream, even the strange ones, even the fearful ones, is your mind's way of keeping you whole. Each one is a note in the music of your consciousness. Listen closely, and you might begin to understand the language of your own soul. And when morning comes, you will rise carrying pieces of starlight from your inner sky. They will glimmer faintly in your thoughts all day. Proof that while your body rested, your mind traveled far and returned bearing stories from the dark. The earth does not speak in words. It remembers in layers. Every mountain, every grain of sand, every breath of air has witnessed more than any human lifetime could hold. The planet is ancient, not merely old in years, but deep in memory. And if you learn how to listen, you can almost hear it breathing. Beneath the surface, time doesn't pass. It presses. Fossils, minerals, sediments, all stacked like pages in a book that never ends. Every era leaves its chapter. Every catastrophe, its punctuation. Volcanoes write in basalt, oceans write in limestone, ice writes in silence. Imagine slicing through the earth like opening a tree trunk, counting the rings of history. Each layer tells a story, not of years, but of transformations. Whole continents moving, oceans rising and vanishing, species blinking into and out of existence. The planet is not static. It is memory in motion. In Greenland and Antarctica, scientists drilled deep into ice cores. Columns of frozen time. Within each layer, tiny bubbles of ancient air sleep in crystal. They tell of climates long past, carbon levels, volcanic eruptions, even the breath of mammoths. The ice remembers everything. When researchers melt those cores in laboratories, it's like listening to the planet exhale after 1,000,000 years. The Earth keeps records even of its own forgetting. And then there's the ocean, the world's most fluid memory. Every wave carries minerals from mountains, whispers from rivers, salt from ancient tears. The currents travel like veins, circulating information across hemispheres. A molecule of water you touch tonight may once have drifted beside a plesiosaur or washed the feet of early humans. Water never dies. It only moves. It's the oldest traveler on this planet. And like memory, it changes form, but never truly disappears. Even the rocks beneath cities remember pressure and fire. Quartz crystals hold tiny fractures aligned by Earth's magnetic field at the moment they formed. Microscopic compasses locked in time. By studying them, scientists can tell where continents used to sit, how magnetic poles have wandered, how the world itself has slowly spun through cycles of forgetting and return. Every pebble you've ever kicked carries eons inside it. Every handful of sand is a library of former mountains. The solidity of the ground is just illusion. Beneath your feet, atoms still vibrate, molecules still move, tectonic plates still drift. The Earth is alive, even in its stillness. And like any living thing, it has scars, canyons carved by rivers, cracks etched by quakes, deserts that were once seas. Each fracture is both loss and memory, proof that change does not erase, it redefines. When you walk through a forest after rain, that smell rising from the soil, petrichor, is the scent of earth remembering water. Oils released by ancient bacteria, awakened again by storm. Even the ground dreams in cycles. The trees, too, are archivists. Inside their rings lie droughts and floods, fires and calm years. Forests are the lungs of memory, exhaling oxygen mixed with the carbon of what came before. When you breathe, you inhale the past lives of mountains and seas. The story continues inside you. There's a law in geology called uniformitarianism, the idea that the present is the key to the past. The forces shaping the Earth today, wind, water, fire, are the same that built it long ago. In other words, the planet doesn't forget how to make itself. It repeats, refines, evolves. The river that erodes stone today once carved the same path in a different age. Even destruction is rehearsal. The same rule applies to life. Your own memories work this way. They don't vanish. They reshape themselves, flowing through new contexts, new meanings, new faces. The past becomes foundation, not weight, but structure. The Earth taught you that. It's been doing it for 4.5 billion years. Some believe the Earth has consciousness, not human thought, but awareness in motion. A planetary mind distributed through its systems, oceans, forests, atmosphere, magnetism. It's called the Gaia hypothesis, the idea that the Earth regulates itself like a living organism, not metaphorically, but functionally. When the planet overheats, forests grow to absorb carbon. When oxygen falls, life adapts to replenish it. Earth behaves like a single breathing being. We are not living on it. We are living within it. Science still debates the boundaries of this idea, but the evidence of balance is undeniable. Feedback loops maintain climate, circulation, evolution. The planet self-corrects, the way a heartbeat regulates itself without asking permission. Perhaps consciousness does not begin with neurons, but with relationship, the dialogue between everything that exists. If that's true, then every leaf, every wave, every gust of wind is part of a conversation that never stopped since the world began. And when you listen, really listen, you can almost hear it speaking. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine the slow pulse beneath you, the magma flowing miles below, the plates grinding softly, the magnetic field swirling like an invisible ocean. The earth hums, literally. Sensitive instruments have detected low-frequency vibrations called the Earth's hum, a constant resonance that persists even without quakes or wind. It's the heartbeat of the planet, too low for our ears, too deep for our instruments to fully explain. But it's there, a bass note in the music of existence. When you stand barefoot on the ground, you join that frequency. Tiny electrical currents flow between your body and the Earth's surface. A silent exchange of charge, a reunion of circuits. Some studies even suggest this grounding stabilizes human physiology. Not mysticism, but resonance. Your pulse syncing to the planet's slow rhythm. You are not above the Earth. You are part of its nervous system. Now, think of the wind. It has passed through 1,000 landscapes before touching your face. Deserts, oceans, forests, ruins, each adding its signature to the air. You are breathing the world's collective memory. Every inhale is a reunion with what has been. Every exhale, a gift to what will come. You've never truly left the past. It flows through you with every breath, every sip of water, every grain of soil beneath your feet. So tonight, let the memory of the earth cradle you. Feel the weight of stone not as heaviness, but as wisdom. The patience of minerals, the forgiveness of rivers, the resilience of forests that have burned and grown again. The world beneath you is old, but it is not tired. It is still dreaming. And you are one of its thoughts. As you drift deeper into stillness, the hum of the planet becomes your lullaby, steady, low, eternal. Let your heartbeat match it. Let your breath join its rhythm. You are the earth remembering itself, for a little while, through the shape of a human life. Above you, there is a cathedral without walls. It has no ceiling, no altar, no boundary. Only layers of invisible air stacked like glass, shifting in color and light. Every second, it remakes itself. The sky is the most fluid structure on Earth, forever collapsing and rebuilding, never still, never finished. And yet, it feels eternal. The atmosphere is thin, frighteningly thin. If the Earth were a peach, the breathable air would be no thicker than its skin. And still, within that fragile veil, everything we know, every laugh, every song, every breath, takes place. You are alive because of a film of air less than 100 kilometers deep, a living ocean made of wind. Look up on a clear night, you see the stars, but between you and them lies an invisible masterpiece. 5 distinct layers, each with its own music. The troposphere, where weather lives. The layer you breathe. The stratosphere, calm and poised. holding the ozone that shields you from ultraviolet fire. Above it, the mesosphere, where meteors burn into dust, the planet's natural firewall. Then the thermosphere, glowing with auroras. And finally, the exosphere, where the atmosphere dissolves into the black silence of space. 5 layers, 5 notes in the song of the sky, a vertical symphony surrounding you always. When sunlight enters this ocean of air, it bends, scatters, and dances. Blue light with its short, sharp waves ricochets in all directions. That's why the sky looks blue. At dawn and dusk, the light travels farther, scattering away the blues and leaving reds and golds to flood the horizon. The sky changes color not because the sun changes, but because perspective does. Light meets matter, and the result is beauty. Every sunrise is physics expressed as poetry. Every sunset, the universe painting with math. When you watch one, you are seeing molecules perform refraction, turning invisible light into emotion. Clouds are the architects of impermanence. They build and erase cities of vapor faster than mountains can dream of forming. Each one holds billions of droplets, each droplet a memory of evaporation, travel, and condensation. Some rise miles high, towering like cathedrals of vapor. Others spread thin as whispers, tracing soft calligraphy across the blue. They look random, but like everything else in nature, they obey laws. Their formation follows invisible boundaries of temperature and pressure, a balance between heat rising and cold air sinking, an endless conversation between chaos and grace. If you could float within them, you'd find yourself surrounded by light made liquid, particles catching the sun, splitting it, scattering it into infinite brightness. A cloud is not an object. It's a process, a slow explosion of light becoming water, then vanishing again. And then there are storms. The sky remembering its strength, lightning, thunder, rain, chaos performed with perfect precision. Every flash is a negotiation between imbalance and equilibrium. Charges separate, tension builds, the air breaks. In microseconds, billions of volts leap through miles of sky, turning air into plasma hotter than the surface of the sun. And yet, within that fury, there is balance. A release, not destruction. Every bolt is the atmosphere exhaling. Thunder is its echo, the sky speaking back to itself. And rain, its forgiveness. Each droplet once rose as invisible vapor, and now returns home as sound, as coolness, as renewal. The storm, too, is a cycle of memory, chaos transforming into calm. Sometimes, when the night turns cold and charged, the poles begin to glow. The aurora, green and violet curtains waving in silence, born from collisions between solar wind and magnetic field. Particles from the sun stream toward Earth, caught and guided by magnetism, dancing in spirals around the poles. When they strike oxygen and nitrogen high in the atmosphere, light blooms, not constant, but breathing, as if the planet itself were exhaling light. Auroras are reminders that space and Earth are not separate, that the sky is a conversation between stars and soil. Every shimmer is the sun touching the planet with its fingertips. Energy becomes color. Silence becomes song. Even in stillness, the sky moves. Air currents, invisible rivers, flow endlessly. The jet streams circle the planet, steering weather, shifting seasons. A single gust born above the Sahara might reach your window weeks later, carrying dust that seeds clouds across the Atlantic. That same dust feeds the Amazon rainforest. That rainforest releases moisture that shapes storms over the Pacific. The whole world is breathing in one sky. When you stand under it, you are never alone. The air that fills your lungs has touched oceans, mountains, strangers. It's been inside trees and whales and distant fires. Every breath is a handshake across time. The atmosphere is the Earth's shared memory, the one all beings participate in. Some nights, when conditions are just right, the atmosphere sings, literally. Infrasounds ripple from storms, vibrations too low for human ears. They circle the globe for days before fading. Scientists record them with sensitive instruments. Proof that the planet is never silent, only quieter than our perception allows. Perhaps the sky has always been humming, and we've simply forgotten how to listen. Birds navigate by it. Whales sing to it through waves. Plants open and close with its light. The air carries every message, every vibration, every whisper of existence. Now close your eyes. Imagine floating within that cathedral, weightless, surrounded by blue so deep it becomes soundless. Below you, the earth curves softly, a glowing sphere wrapped in breath. Above you, darkness begins, scattered with stars. Between them, the atmosphere, thin, fragile, perfect. The border between chaos and cosmos. Breathe in. That air is ancient. The same molecules once breathed by dinosaurs, by poets, by explorers, by everything that ever lived. The sky is not separate from you. It is your first and last companion. The first thing you inhaled at birth, the last thing you'll release when your story ends. The sky is the great continuity, the bridge between worlds. As night deepens, the air cools and slows. Winds quiet. The atmosphere folds back into stillness. Above you, the auroras fade. The stars return. The cathedral closes its doors until dawn. The sky is both motion and meditation. A reminder that even chaos can be soft, and even emptiness can hold meaning. Out there, beyond the whisper of wind and the shimmer of clouds, the air thins into silence. The black expands, and within that darkness, stars burn. To the naked eye, they look eternal, like pinholes in a dark curtain. But every one of them is a fire in process, a living equation balancing gravity and fusion, chaos and stability. Each is a story unfolding in heat and light. Each is a heartbeat of the universe. The night sky you see tonight is a gallery of ancient moments. Some of those lights have already gone out. Their photons have traveled millions of years just to reach you. Messengers from suns long dead, still whispering across space. When you gaze upward, you are watching the past shimmer. Light doesn't hurry. It arrives precisely when it's meant to. Inside a star, the rules of matter bend into poetry. Gravity, relentless and patient, pulls hydrogen atoms together with impossible pressure. Atoms fuse, merging into helium, releasing energy as light. This is nuclear fusion, the process that powers everything, from the warmth on your skin to the glow of galaxies. Every second, our sun converts 600 million tons of hydrogen into light. A fraction of that energy travels through empty space, touches the earth, and becomes life. That's how it happens. A star dreams, and a planet wakes. But stars, like all living things, have life cycles. They're born from clouds of gas and dust, enormous nurseries called nebulae. Gravity gathers the gas, spinning it faster and tighter until the pressure ignites. the first burst of fusion is like a cosmic birth cry, a flash of blue-white fire announcing, "I exist." Around these young stars, disks of dust swirl, clumping into planets, moons, comets. Creation is never quiet. It's thunder and light and symmetry. Our own sun was born this way nearly 5 billion years ago. One spark among billions, kindled from the ashes of older stars that had already lived, burned, and died. You are not just made of stardust. You are made of recycled starlight, the residue of 1,000 ancient suns, the gold in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the iron in your veins. All were forged in stellar hearts and scattered by explosions called supernovae. The stars didn't die for nothing. They died to make you. A star's life is a dance between two opposing forces, gravity pulling inward and radiation pushing outward. When the balance holds, the stars shine steadily for billions of years. When gravity finally wins, the star begins to collapse. The way it dies depends on its mass. Small stars fade into white dwarfs, dense, cooling embers the size of Earth. Giant stars explode, tearing themselves apart, outshining entire galaxies for a moment. Their death is violent, but in that violence, new worlds are born. Supernovae scatter heavy elements across space, seeding the next generation of stars and planets. Death in the universe is never the end. It's the handoff between chapters. Even black holes, the most extreme outcome of stellar collapse, are not voids of destruction, but engines of recycling. At their edges, energy and matter swirl in luminous spirals, releasing more light than entire galaxies combined. They are not tombs. They are wombs of transformation. If you could stand near a star, though of course no body could survive that nearness, you would see light behaving like liquid fire, folding and twisting in magnetic waves. The surface of a sun is never still. It boils. Convection currents rise and fall in enormous patterns, arcs of plasma reaching out thousands of kilometers before collapsing back in luminous cascades. It is chaos choreographed by physics, beauty too bright for eyes to bear. Even the sun's light that reaches us is filtered through distance. Its true brightness would blind instantly. And yet, filtered, softened, refracted through air and leaf and water, it becomes warmth. Gentle, sustaining, familiar. The same fire that could destroy you also keeps you alive. Such is the paradox of energy. What gives life is always capable of consuming it. When you look at a star, you're not only seeing it, it's also seeing you, not literally, of course, but physically connected. The photons leaving its surface will strike your retina, trigger an electrical signal in your neurons, and become meaning. That moment completes a journey begun before humanity existed. The universe becomes aware of itself through your eyes. Light becomes consciousness. That's the most extraordinary transformation of all. Some astrophysicists believe that stars are not merely nuclear engines, but nodes in a larger cosmic ecology. Galaxies recycle stellar material like forests recycle carbon and water. Star births and deaths maintain equilibrium. Black holes regulate formation, preventing runaway collapse. Even in space, balance holds. Entropy and renewal trade places endlessly. Just as your body renews its cells, just as the Earth renews its seasons. In this way, stars are not distant things. They are mirrors. The rhythm of your heartbeat, the cycle of your breath, the arc of your life, all follow the same curve as theirs. Ignition, balance, release. You are a star, slowed into consciousness, a luminous process disguised as a person. If you could listen to stars instead of watching them, you'd find they sing. Each one vibrates with sound waves trapped within its plasma. The pitch depends on its size and temperature. Astronomers record these oscillations through light patterns, a science called asteroseismology. Some stars pulse like drums, others ring like bells. The universe is an orchestra, and you are hearing its echo right now, through warmth, through silence, through heartbeat. All of it is vibration. All of it is music. Now imagine drifting among them. You float through interstellar dust glowing faintly blue. Clusters of newborn stars pulse around you like embers in an infinite hearth. You pass through nebulae, clouds of pink hydrogen and emerald oxygen. Vast nurseries where new light is forming even now. You realize the universe is not dark. It is only dimmed by distance. The deeper you travel, the more light there is. And there, amid the brilliance, you feel something ancient and intimate. A recognition. The same glow that surrounds you burns quietly inside you. You've been here before, not as this body, not as this thought, but as carbon, as oxygen, as spark. You were once part of this radiant sea, and you will be again. Now, breathe softly, the warmth you feel on your skin when morning comes. That's the whisper of nuclear fusion, a caress that began inside a heart of hydrogen long before you were born. Every sunrise is a message from a star. Every heartbeat is that message, answered. The universe doesn't just surround you, it circulates through you, singing quietly in every cell, glowing faintly with borrowed starlight. Rest in that light. You are part of its story, and it is part of yours. In the beginning, there was only energy. Heat, pressure, radiation, and dust drifting through newborn galaxies. And yet, within that chaos, there was potential. Atoms forged in the hearts of stars began to combine, forming molecules that would someday wonder who they were. When a planet called Earth cooled from molten stone, the elements fell into place, like notes finding harmony. Hydrogen met oxygen. Water was born. Carbon found nitrogen. Chains began to link. Lightning struck oceans rich with minerals, and chemistry crossed the threshold into life. The universe, for the first time, began to organize itself from within. It was no longer content to simply exist. It wanted to feel. Life began humbly, single cells adrift in ancient seas. They had no eyes, no language, no thought. And yet, they carried instructions, written not in ink, but in molecules. These were the first strands of DNA, tiny spirals that could copy themselves, store memory, and adapt. From that moment on, the universe had a new rule. Whatever can learn will survive. Each cell was a miniature world, a membrane to hold its identity, an engine to feed, a code to remember. And when they began to cooperate, to share energy and information, life took its next breath. Multicellular beings appeared. Coral, algae, simple worms. Small beginnings, quiet revolutions. The oceans were the first minds. Billions of organisms responding to light and current. They sensed warmth, pressure, movement. Their reactions were primitive, yet profound. The start of awareness, the first flicker of curiosity. Somewhere in that watery dark, cells learned to harvest sunlight directly. Photosynthesis. They captured photons, turned light into sugar, and exhaled oxygen into the air. That single innovation changed everything. The sky turned blue, the oceans filled with breath. The earth began to glow with chemistry and motion. The planet became a living machine, fueled by stars, sustained by its own rhythm. You are still powered by that same light. Every meal, every breath, every heartbeat is a continuation of that ancient experiment. Sunlight stored in the language of biology. Life did not rise steadily. It stumbled. It reinvented. Mass extinctions wiped the slate clean again and again. But each collapse was also creation. A new balance, a new form, a new chance for the universe to try again. Fish learned to walk. Lungs learned to breathe air. Wings learned to carry bones through sky. The improbable kept happening until one day, a small primate began to look at the stars and wonder where it came from. That moment, the birth of thought, was not separate from life's thread. It was its natural conclusion. Matter had finally learned to reflect. The cosmos had built a mirror. Every species on Earth carries the same molecular alphabet. 4 bases, A, T, G, C. Letters rearranged endlessly into the poetry of evolution. From coral reefs to forests, from the hum of bees to the rhythm of human hearts, it's all one language, spoken by trillions of forms, united in diversity. Life is not competition, it's conversation. Even the viruses, those strange fragments of genetic code between life and non-life, are part of that conversation. They trade information, transfer genes, accelerate evolution. They are the punctuation in biology's endless sentence. When you look at a forest, you are not seeing separate lives. You are seeing one breathing system. Roots exchange nutrients through fungal networks. Trees warn each other of drought, share carbon with the dying, nurture seedlings in shadow. Even the soil is alive, a living community of microbes older than language. Science calls this the Wood Wide Web. But perhaps it's better understood as memory, life remembering itself through connection. You are part of that web too. The same carbon in your breath once existed in leaves, in waves, in distant clouds of gas. You are not outside of nature. You are its continuation, its awareness made visible. There is a quiet intelligence in all of it. Not human thought, but harmony. Cells know how to heal. Wounds know when to close. Seeds know when to wake. None of them think in the way we do, and yet all act with precision, as if guided by an unseen logic. Perhaps consciousness did not emerge from life. Perhaps it is life. A spectrum, not a spark. From the twitch of a bacterium to the imagination of a poet, awareness stretches unbroken, a thread woven through every living thing. And maybe that's the point. Life is not a product of matter. It's matter's longing for connection, its energy folding back on itself until it can recognize its own reflection. That recognition, that moment of wonder, is what it means to be alive. Look at your hands. Every atom there was once inside a star. Every cell is older than mountains. Every heartbeat echoes the pulse of oceans and lightning and dust. You are not a coincidence. You are continuity. Now breathe deeply. That air you inhale, it carries molecules from volcanoes, from coral reefs, from forests that existed before names. You are inhaling history, and with each exhale, you are adding to it. The planet remembers you in carbon. The stars remember you in light. Nothing that breathes is ever lost. It only changes form. Life is the thread, woven from chaos, held together by memory, spun endlessly by time. You are both the weaver and the strand. There is a moment, impossible to pinpoint, when chemistry becomes curiosity. When neurons, once only electric messengers, begin to ask questions about themselves. Somewhere in that moment, awareness begins. The universe, after billions of years of silence, starts to wonder what it is. No one knows exactly how consciousness began. Maybe it flickered softly in simple creatures sensing light and dark. Maybe it bloomed in the first animals to dream. But however it came, it never left. Awareness is the one thing that turns existence from repetition into experience. If you could peer inside your own mind, you'd see not a static organ, but a shimmering network. Billions of neurons pulsing in waves of color and rhythm. Each thought is a pattern of electricity, each emotion a symphony of chemicals. And yet, somehow, the whole is greater than its parts. Awareness emerges not from one cell, but from their conversation. The brain is a city of light. 100 billion windows flickering on and off, each connected by invisible bridges. The architecture shifts every second. New connections form as old ones fade, like constellations rearranging in an inner sky. And from that shifting geometry, the sense of I arises, the quiet, constant center that watches it all unfold. But what is I? The more science studies it, the more it dissolves. There is no single spot in the brain that contains the self. Memory lives in one region, emotion in another, language and reason scattered like islands in a luminous sea. The self is a story these regions tell together, a chorus of voices harmonizing long enough to believe they are one. You are not a fixed identity. You are a verb, a process that renews itself every second, using memory as a mirror and perception as breath. And when you dream, meditate, or fall in love, that process becomes fluid again, the self loosening into something larger, something universal. Consciousness is not confined to the skull. It extends outward, through senses, relationships, imagination. Your thoughts are shaped by the language you speak, your emotions by the people you love, your awareness by the things you notice. The mind does not end at the skin. It ripples outward, connecting to every system around it. Every glance, every touch, every word is the exchange of inner worlds. Neuroscientists call this the extended mind, the idea that consciousness is distributed, shared between brain, body, and environment. When you write, the pen becomes part of thought. When you listen, another's voice becomes your mirror. When you love, your sense of self expands to include another heartbeat. Awareness grows by contact. It's strange to think that awareness may be the universe's way of knowing itself. The same particles that once formed stars now form questions, dreams, and laughter. Matter has turned inward, folded into reflection. The cosmos has developed memory. Through you. When you observe a flower, the act of observation completes the circuit. The light that left the sun, bounced from the petal, entered your eye, and became meaning. Without awareness, light is just energy. With awareness, it becomes beauty. Perception is creation repeated in miniature. In the quiet of meditation, you may notice awareness observing itself. A mirror turned toward a mirror. There is no subject, no object, only presence looking back at presence. Mystics call this enlightenment. Scientists call it metacognition, the mind knowing it knows. Both are the same event. Consciousness realizing it is infinite. Even at rest, your brain hums in gentle rhythm. The default mode network, the circuit of self-reflection, flickers softly, telling your story even when you're not thinking of it. But when you fall into stillness, those circuits quiet, and something deeper remains. Awareness without narration. Being without doing. The pure architecture beneath thought. Awareness is paradoxical. It is both the smallest and the largest thing that exists. It fits inside a single human mind, and yet it contains everything a mind can perceive. In awareness, the boundaries between inner and outer blur. The sound of rain outside becomes part of you. The memory of a voice becomes alive again. In awareness, time softens, moments overlap. You feel the universe breathing through you, not metaphorically, but literally. Each inhale pulls in particles that once belonged to distant stars. Each exhale releases them to drift into future lives. You are a moment in the cycle of infinite perception. From the evolutionary point of view, awareness was never meant to be mystical. It was survival, a tool to predict danger, find food, raise offspring. But somewhere along the way, it transcended its purpose. We began to notice sunsets, not for safety, but for wonder. We began to cry at music that held no logic, to build art that serves no function but awe. Awareness, once practical, became sacred. The human brain carries both instincts, the animal's urgency and the philosopher's curiosity. Between them lies consciousness, the meeting of need and wonder. It's the same pattern the universe follows. Structure and chaos, matter and meaning. The mind is that pattern, folded into flesh. And maybe, just maybe, there is no difference between awareness and the universe at all. They are two ways of describing the same phenomenon. Energy aware of itself, a thought, a galaxy, a heartbeat. All flickers of the same light, seen from different angles. When you sit in stillness and listen to the sound of your breath, you are participating in that cosmic dialogue. You are the question and the answer, the observer and the observed, the echo and the source. Now breathe, slowly. Notice awareness noticing. The soft hum behind every sound, the quiet watcher behind every thought. It was here before the first word you ever spoke. It will remain after the last. It is not yours. It is you. You are not a drop within the ocean of consciousness. You are the ocean pretending to be a drop for a little while so that it might know itself through your eyes. Nothing in the universe stands alone. Every rise invites a fall. Every pull demands a counterpull. Every silence waits for sound. This isn't punishment or reward. It's balance, the oldest rhythm of existence. If you could see the fabric of reality, you'd notice it doesn't sit flat. It trembles. Like a drumhead, it vibrates between opposites. Expansion and contraction, heat and cold, life and death, order and decay. Each half needs the other to be whole. Without gravity, there is no flight. Without darkness, no dawn. Without loss, no space for renewal. The physicists put it more precisely. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. But beneath the equations lies poetry. Push too far in one direction, and the universe bends to correct you. Energy never disappears. It only changes costume. The explosion of a star becomes the soil of a planet. The collapse of a moment becomes the seed of another. Balance isn't stillness. It's motion held in harmony. Think of a dancer spinning. She doesn't stop to stay balanced. She keeps moving, adjusting with every heartbeat. That's how nature moves. In constant correction, the planets wobble but stay in orbit. The tides retreat and return. The heart contracts, then rests. The secret of endurance is rhythm, not rigidity. Inside your own body, the same dance never stops. Every second, billions of chemical negotiations take place. Acid meets base. Nerve signals ignite, then fade. Hormones rise and fall like moonlight on waves. You are a microcosm of cosmic equilibrium, a self-regulating storm of opposites learning how to stay whole. Even your emotions obey the law. Joy peaks, then softens into calm. Sorrow deepens, then gives way to lightness. If either stayed forever, it would destroy you. Feeling is motion, balance in motion. The pain you fear and the peace you crave are partners, not enemies. The wave and the shore create each other. Look at nature when it's left alone. A forest knows exactly how to balance itself. Predators keep prey alert. Fallen trees feed the soil. Fire destroys, then fertilizes. Nothing is wasted. Where humans see tragedy, nature sees renewal. Even decay is a kind of generosity. Matter returning home. The oceans breathe the same way. Currents exchange warmth and cold between hemispheres, stabilizing the planet's climate. Too much heat or too much ice, and the dance falters. But for now, the rhythm continues, the sea keeping the world's heartbeat steady. Balance isn't perfection, it's persistence. In physics, there's a concept called equilibrium, a state where forces cancel out so completely that nothing changes, until the slightest nudge tips it again. That's how galaxies evolve, how economies shift, how lives unfold. Every calm is temporary by design. Life doesn't seek permanence, it seeks adaptability. Static perfection is death disguised as peace. True balance bends. Even the universe itself wobbles between extremes. It expands faster each moment. Yet gravity still whispers for it to return. No one knows whether it will end in fire or frost. But the very uncertainty is proof that balance is dynamic. A conversation, not a conclusion. Inside you, that same law holds truth of its own. When you cling too tightly to one side of yourself, ambition without rest, control without trust, certainty without wonder, the other side waits patiently to return. Burnout, surrender, change, all are the body's way of restoring symmetry. The art of living isn't to avoid imbalance, but to listen to its call and sway with it gracefully. Think of breathing. Inhale, expansion, exhale, release. Between them, a pause. That pause is the purest form of balance. A silent midpoint where neither force wins. Every breath is the entire cosmos reenacted in miniature. You've been practicing the law of balance since the moment you were born. Sometimes, imbalance becomes the teacher. When the scales tip too far, we awaken. Loss reminds us to value presence. Noise teaches silence. Even heartbreak recenters the heart. Pain isn't the opposite of peace. It's its sculptor. Through imbalance, you remember where the middle lives. The Taoists called it yin and yang, the dark and the light intertwined. They understood that duality isn't conflict, but cooperation. The shadow protects the flame from burning itself out. The flame ensures the shadow isn't eternal. Each carries the seed of the other in its heart. That is not philosophy. It's physics with a soul. Now close your eyes. Imagine a pendulum swinging slowly, left, right, left, right. but each time a little softer, until finally it rests in center. That stillness isn't the absence of motion. It's the point where motion finds meaning. In that quiet midpoint, there is no past or future, no striving, no regret, only balance breathing itself. Stay there for a moment. Let your own pendulum slow. Feel the subtle symmetry between effort and ease, between your heartbeat and the hush around it. Everything you are, thoughts, memories, dreams, hangs in perfect equilibrium for a breath's length. And that is enough. When you open your eyes again, remember, the universe will keep swaying. You will tilt, stumble, correct, begin again. That's not failure. It's participation. To live is to balance on the edge of falling, to wobble beautifully through time. Time has no sound, and yet it's the quietest music you will ever know. It flows through everything, through galaxies and through you. A river that cannot be seen, but can be felt in the spaces between moments. You are swimming in it right now. Every breath, every heartbeat, every blink is a ripple in that current. The river doesn't rush. It moves with absolute patience. It doesn't hurry the stars or scold the seasons. It simply is. Physicists describe time as a dimension, a direction we move through, like length or height. But unlike space, we can only travel one way. We can wander left or right, up or down, but never backward through yesterday. This arrow, the arrow of time, is what makes existence irreversible. It's the reason ashes don't reassemble into fire. Why waves never retreat into the ocean whole. Why childhood can only be remembered, not relived. And yet, the arrow is born from something very simple. Entropy, the tendency of systems to move from order to disorder. Ice melts, mountains crumble, memories fade. Entropy is not decay, it's diffusion, energy spreading into balance. The universe isn't dying, it's equalizing. Even in your body, entropy works constantly, breaking down, rebuilding, reshaping. You call it aging. The universe calls it evolution. But here's the paradox. Without entropy, there would be no time. If everything stayed perfectly ordered, nothing would ever change. No birth, no growth, no stories. Time's river flows because chaos keeps it moving. The beauty you see, the love you feel, the breath you take, all depend on impermanence. Human beings have always tried to trap time. We built calendars, clocks, rituals. We divided infinity into numbers so we could hold it for a while. But time doesn't live in those measurements. It hides in experiences, in laughter that stretches seconds, in grief that folds hours into minutes, in the strange elasticity of moments that feel longer than they are. Einstein once said, "Time is what keeps everything from happening at once." But in the mind, sometimes everything does happen at once. That's memory, the echo of the river inside the brain. Your memory is not a recording, it's a reconstruction. Each time you recall an event, you rewrite it slightly, adding emotion, meaning, perspective. Memory is not truth, it's continuity. It lets you believe in a self that moves through time, even though that self changes constantly. The you who is reading this sentence is not the same you who began it. Atoms have shifted, thoughts have evolved, cells have died and been reborn. And yet, the illusion of identity remains, a bridge built from memory and hope. Time gives you that bridge. It turns change into story. Every culture has tried to describe time's nature. The Greeks imagined Chronos, the relentless clock of cause and effect. But they also spoke of Kairos, sacred time, moments that exist outside measurement. The birth of a child, a first kiss, the stillness after a storm. Those are Kairos, eternal pauses where time folds in on itself. In such moments, you don't feel time passing, you feel time listening. You have lived thousands of those moments already. Each one is a door between past and future, where the river meets the sea and disappears into stillness. Physics hints that all of time might already exist. Past, present, and future laid out like pages of a book. You, the reader, experience them one at a time. But the book itself is whole. That's the block universe theory, that the flow of time is not a movement through reality, but our consciousness moving through a fixed landscape. In that view, your birth and your death already coexist. Two stars connected by the thread of awareness. You are not traveling it through time. You are unveiling it, one breath at a time. Maybe that's why déjà vu feels so strange. A glitch of awareness touching a page it hasn't reached yet. Or maybe time isn't linear at all, but loops, spirals, patterns repeating on scales too vast to notice. The heartbeat of the cosmos echoing in your own. To the earth, time feels slower. 1 billion years to raise mountains, 1 million more to wear them down. To a mayfly, time is frantic. 24 hours to live, mate, and vanish. The difference is only perception. Time is elastic, stretched, and shaped by awareness. In moments of awe or danger, the brain slows its clock. Seconds become minutes. You experience eternity compressed into heartbeat. Time doesn't move the same for everyone. It moves at the speed of attention. And if you could step outside it, even for a breath, you'd see that everything still exists. The laughter of people you've lost, the innocence of your childhood, the warmth of a day you thought was gone. None of it has vanished. It's only shifted in position along the river. You are the traveler, but also the current, but also the ocean. There's a theory that time may someday reverse, that as the universe expands and cools, its entropy could reach such balance that it begins to fold back on itself. Galaxies would contract. Stars would reignite in reverse. Every motion would replay backward, not erasing, but rewinding. No one knows if it will happen. But even the idea reveals something beautiful, that time might be a circle, not a line. And if that's true, perhaps every goodbye is also a hello waiting in another direction. Perhaps every loss is a return unseen. Perhaps eternity isn't endlessness, but recurrence. No, breathe. Feel the present moment flowing through you, not as something you must hold, but as something holding you. You don't need to chase time or conquer it. You only need to ride it gently, because the present isn't a point in the river. It is the river. And you are the water. Infinity, a word we use like a shape. But it has no edge, no boundary, no beginning or end. It is not distance. It is possibility without limit. When you stare at the night sky, you are looking into that endlessness, not as an observer, but as a participant. Because you are made of the same infinity that surrounds you. For centuries, humans believed the universe was finite. A dome of stars, a stage for creation. Then, through telescopes and mathematics, the truth began to unfold. The cosmos is expanding. Every galaxy is moving away from every other. Space itself stretching like fabric being pulled from all directions. There's no center, only motion. Everywhere is the middle. This expansion was born from an instant, the Big Bang, a singularity so dense that space and time themselves erupted outward. Not into empty space, but creating space as it expanded. Time, too, began there. Before that, if before even applies, there was no when. Infinity began as a spark. We are still inside that spark, still expanding, still cooling, still listening to the echo of that first light. A faint background radiation, a cosmic afterglow humming softly across the sky. It is called the cosmic microwave background, the oldest light we can see. A baby picture of the universe, frozen 380,000 years after its birth. Every direction you look, that whisper of origin surrounds you. You are bathing in the memory of creation. But even infinity has texture. On the largest scales, galaxies form clusters. Clusters form filaments. Filaments weave into webs spanning billions of light years. Between them, voids. Dark expanses so vast that light may never cross them. This is the cosmic web, a pattern so immense that it mirrors the neurons in your brain. The universe is structured like thought. Perhaps it is thought. And yet, for all its brilliance, most of the cosmos is invisible. The stars you see are only the foam atop an unseen ocean. Beneath them lie the two great mysteries, dark matter and dark energy, together composing 95% of everything, and yet invisible, undetectable, ungraspable. Dark matter gives structure. It binds galaxies together like invisible scaffolding. Dark energy gives motion. It pushes the universe apart, faster, farther, always accelerating. Two opposing forces, two halves of an unknown equation, one pulling inward, one stretching outward. Together, balance again. Scientists can't see these forces directly. They see their effects, the bending of light, the motion of galaxies, the speed of expansion. Like wind through leaves, the invisible is revealed by what it moves. Infinity hides itself in plain sight. Maybe that's the rule. What's most essential can never be seen, only felt. At the edges of knowledge, physics begins to tremble. Where matter collapses beyond comprehension, we find black holes, regions so dense that not even light can escape. To an outside observer, time there slows to nothing. A second near the event horizon could stretch to centuries beyond it. To fall in is to vanish from the story, but not from existence. What happens inside, no one knows. Some believe matter is crushed into nothingness. Others believe information survives, encoded on the surface like a cosmic hologram. Whatever the truth, black holes are paradoxes, voids that shine. Around their edges, gas and dust swirl at near light speeds, radiating more energy than entire galaxies. The darkest things in the universe are also the brightest. Perhaps that's not coincidence. Perhaps infinity always hides light within its shadow. There are other edges too. White holes, theoretical opposites of black holes, where nothing can enter, only escape. Some physicists speculate they could be linked, that the matter swallowed by one erupts from another in another universe. If that's true, then our universe may not be the only one. It may be one bubble among countless others, an endless froth of realities, each expanding, colliding, birthing new infinities. A multiverse, not a single creation, but an ongoing symphony. Infinity doesn't end, it multiplies. And yet, for all its enormity, the universe remains fragile. If the expansion accelerates too much, stars will drift beyond each other's reach. Galaxies will dissolve. Even atoms will tear apart. The cosmos would fade into thin, silent cold, a final stillness called heat death. No light, no structure, just the echo of what once was. But some scientists whisper another ending, a big bounce. When the universe stretches too far, gravity will call it home. Everything will collapse inward again, compressing into another singularity. A new beginning waiting inside an ending. If so, infinity is not eternal expansion. It is eternal breathing. Exhale. Inhale. Birth. Death. Birth again. It's humbling to realize that infinity is not somewhere out there, but inside everything small enough to wonder about it. Inside you. Every atom in your body contains empty space so vast that, scaled up, it mirrors the structure of galaxies. Your mind holds universes of thought. Your dreams stretch beyond dimensions. You are not a visitor to infinity. You are its continuation. Now close your eyes. Imagine drifting beyond the galaxies, past the nebulae, past the last red-shifted star, into pure blackness. But it isn't empty. It's full of possibility, vibrating softly with unformed light. That's the true edge, where knowledge ends and imagination begins. Infinity is not endlessness. It is completeness. It's everything, happening forever, seen through the narrow keyhole of a single life. And when you look up at the night sky, you're not looking out. You're looking in. The edge of infinity is the edge of awareness itself. If you could silence the world completely, no wind, no engines, no voices, no heartbeat, you would still not find quiet. Because silence itself hums. Physicists can measure it. A faint cosmic vibration left over from the birth of the universe moves through all space. Every atom trembles in response. You are sitting inside that vibration now. You are made of it. Everything that exists participates in this silent song. You, the stars, the oceans, all vibrating at once, together, forever. The universe is not a machine. It is a symphony of resonance, and you are one of its notes. Think about it. Sound is just movement slowed down enough to hear. Light is vibration sped up beyond hearing. Matter itself is vibration, held in place by relationship. Even emptiness vibrates. The quantum field, a sea of invisible energy flickering with virtual particles, appearing and vanishing faster than time can count. In that flicker lives the foundation of everything, the hum beneath creation. Music, then, isn't human invention. It's recognition. When you sing, when you breathe, when you speak, you are syncing your vibration with the cosmic one, joining the universal pulse in conscious harmony. Every living thing is a different instrument. Some steady, like a drum beat. Some luminous, like a violin of light. Together they form the texture of existence. Science has begun to map this harmony. Astronomers record the frequencies of stars. Low, deep tones echoing through plasma. Seismologists listen to the Earth's crust, its rumble and sigh, its heartbeat in tectonic rhythms. Even your own cells communicate in electrical patterns, tiny melodies passing between synapses and molecules. The same waveform repeats across scales, from the heartbeat of an ant to the orbit of a planet. It's all the same music, just played at different speeds. If you could hear your body from the outside, you'd discover it is full of sound. Blood rushing through arteries, air whispering in lungs, cells vibrating as they divide. Each of these frequencies blends with the next. Your body is an orchestra performing existence, and consciousness is the listener. The brain even turns sound into meaning, not just by decoding pitch or volume, but by feeling resonance. That's why some melodies make you cry without knowing why. Why some voices calm you instantly. They match the hidden rhythm inside you, the one the universe planted there, long before your first breath. In deep space, stars pulse and planets hum. Around every black hole, matter swirls and beats in gravitational tempo. Galaxies spin in waltzes millions of years long. And in the background of it all, the cosmic microwave radiation plays the lowest note ever heard. A B-flat, 57 octaves below middle C. The universe sings in subsonic tones too deep for human ears. But if you could translate them, you'd find the same intervals that appear in music. Physics and harmony are different names for the same truth. When ancient philosophers spoke of the music of the spheres, they were not wrong, only early. They believed the planets moved in ratios that formed chords. Today, we know they do, not metaphorically, but mathematically. Each orbit, each rotation, each vibration is a note in the grand composition. The cosmos doesn't make sound in space, but it carries rhythm. And rhythm is what gives time its shape. Maybe that's why a heartbeat feels sacred. It's the most direct echo of that cosmic rhythm, a small drum keeping time with eternity. And within all this sound, there is silence. Not the absence of noise, but the stillness that gives noise meaning. Without pauses, music is chaos. Without rest, life collapses. Silence is the frame around the melody, the breath between words, the pause before love is spoken aloud. That's what meditation really is. Listening for the silence beneath thought. When you fall into it, you don't disappear. You become the listener, and the music plays itself. In the language of science, silence is equilibrium. In the language of the soul, it's grace. Both describe the same thing, a moment where everything is aligned and nothing needs to move. The earth finds it in still dawns. Stars find it in the pause before they explode. You find it in the exhale after tears, when the world feels clean again. Every creature knows this silence instinctively. A wolf before the hunt, a mother holding her child, a tree under snowfall. Silence is not absence. It's attention. If you look closely, you can sense how this silent music connects everything. Your thoughts ripple through the air as waves. Your actions vibrate through time. Every kindness, every cruelty sends echoes through the field that binds us all. You affect the fabric just by existing within it. The physics is simple. Energy never vanishes. Every sound ever made, every word ever spoken, still vibrates somewhere in the universe. Every whisper is eternal. That's why prayer, poetry, and love feel so heavy. They travel forever. So the next time you find yourself in quiet, listen deeper than your ears can reach. There, beneath the hum of lights and wind, beneath the pulse of blood and thought, you'll hear it. The silent symphony of everything. The music that has no composer, because it composes itself. You are both audience and performer. You are both the instrument and the sound. You are the harmony the universe has been playing since before it had a name. Close your eyes. The story has carried you far, through atoms and oceans, through minds and stars. And now, all those paths are folding inward again. You've seen how everything connects, how balance hums through time, how awareness echoes in galaxies, how even silence carries a pulse. And now, at the end, the question fades, leaving only light. Not the light of suns or fire, but something quieter, a warmth that doesn't shine, but surrounds. The kind that touches you not through your eyes, but through your being. You've felt it before, in forgiveness, in awe, in stillness so deep it feels like love itself. That's the light that remains. All things fade, stars, empires, words, even memory. But light never truly dies. It only changes form. A photon leaves a burning star and travels across time, through dust, through shadow, through the gravity of black holes. And if it meets no obstacle, it goes on forever. Maybe that's what we become too. Light unbound, carrying the story of what we were into whatever comes next. Even in the darkest nebula, light finds a way to scatter, to refract, to remind space that it's still alive. Darkness isn't the opposite of light. It's what gives light direction. Without night, the stars would be invisible. Without endings, beginnings would lose their wonder. There's a word physicists use, luminosity. It doesn't mean brightness, it means power. How much energy something gives away in the form of light. By that measure, your life has been luminous. Every act of kindness, every curiosity, every time you loved deeply, that was luminosity. You've been releasing light all along. You can't see it, but others feel it. A smile that softened a stranger's day, a word that stopped someone from giving up, a quiet forgiveness that healed more than you'll ever know. Every small act is a photon, rippling through the unseen fabric forever. The universe keeps the receipts. Energy, remember, cannot be destroyed. When you were born, you inhaled the breath of stars. When you leave, you'll return it, not as matter, but as motion, warmth, vibration. Death is not darkness, it's dispersion. The light that held itself together as you simply chooses to travel differently. It spreads. It joins the radiance that has always been. And the universe, that vast, quiet listener, remembers not your name, not your story, but your frequency. Your light will hum in harmony with everything that ever was. If you listen now, very softly, beneath the hum of blood and breath, you might hear it. The afterglow of existence, the resonance that doesn't belong to anyone. It has no beginning, no ending. It's not mine or yours. It's simply being. You are not inside the universe. You are the universe, folded into awareness, learning to see itself through your eyes, learning to feel through your heart. The stars didn't build you so you could worship them. They built you so that they could experience what love feels like, so they could finally know what beauty means. As this story closes, there's nothing left to prove or to seek, no knowledge to gather, no laws to learn. All that remains is gratitude for the briefness of life, for the vastness that holds it, for the gentle miracle of existing at all. Gratitude is the purest form of light. It doesn't need to shine, it just stays, quiet, steady, whole. So, as the last words drift away, let them dissolve into that feeling. No need to hold on, just let go. Let gravity cradle you, let time soften around you, let awareness expand until there's nothing left to separate. You began as stardust, you end as light. You have always been both. The night is almost silent now. Only your breath remains, rising and falling like the tides, echoing the rhythm of all things. Somewhere, stars are being born. Somewhere, a child is laughing for the first time. Somewhere, an atom that once belonged to you is beginning its next story. Everything continues, and somewhere within that motion, you are still glowing. You always will be. Sleep now. The universe is holding you. The light that remains will guide you home.